Now, Betty, what are we going to do tonight?
I'm gonna kick some ass!
Welcome to Chicago, where the fires serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Gobble, gobble.
Episode 120 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your official TCSF shirts now.
Makes a great stocking stuffer.
Or whatever you want to stuff. As always, I am Big Z, and I'm here with my boy E-Rock. What up, E?
What's up, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. If you're a first-timer or a long-timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review on your listening app of choice. You can find us on Facebook at True Chicago Fans. You can follow us on Twitter at True Chi Fans and on IG at True Chicago Sports Fans. And don't forget, you can support the show with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go on over there and click on support, and you can subscribe for as low as 99 cents a month. Listen, do you like the show?
I do.
Are you a fan?
Oh, yeah.
Then tell your friends, and they will tell their friends, and we can all be friends. If you enjoy the content, if we make you laugh or cry or yell or throw things at the radio or just think, please share it with others who you think would like it as well. Z, what's up, brother? Happy belated Thanksgiving, man. How you doing?
Happy belated Thanksgiving. You got any chili left over?
We didn't make the chili this time. We had the chili. Chili is specifically for Super Bowl.
Oh, I'll be there for Super Bowl, so no doubt about that. Oh man, another week in the books. Definitely looking forward to another vacation. I had 4 or 5 days off, so I'm looking forward for the next. I got 3 weeks in, and then I got 3 weeks off in Christmas vacation. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. The kids were on 12 today as they came back to school. My worst class was my best class, and my best class was my worst class today. It was Bizarro Day. I literally had to run out of the building because it was nuts. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain parts of your job that I feel like I could do. I just being a coach, like in general, like I think I would actually be a pretty good teacher. But there are certain parts that I do not envy, and that's dealing with those kids every single day, because you still got to deal with the kids that are just plain out assholes.
Yeah.
And there's good kids and there's bad kids. So, and kids are moody as hell. I got 2 of my own, so I already know. And you never know what each day is going to bring.
100%. That there's, I sit down with the first graders in the morning, and they're like, some kids come in and they're like, the simplest thing will ruin their whole day. They're like, there's no Apple Jacks? What do you mean? And that's it. His day is shot to shit. Forget about it. Don't even talk to him. He doesn't want to participate in nothing. And whatever. You got to put yourself in their shoes, right?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Apple Jacks are fucking delicious, and if they're not there and I expect them to be there, I'm gonna be upset too.
I would be too. Some kids don't eat at home, and you expect the Apple Jacks, and when they have shredded wheat, I'd be pissed too, because no one likes shredded wheat, especially a 6-year-old.
I mean, like you ever see the commercials where it's like, I think Cinnamon Toast Crunch was the one that did this, where they made their little cereal things as like a character, right? And they're like, oh, they're eating another piece of cereal.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Shredded wheat be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not even this shit. I'm not even eating this, and it's me. I'm not eating it.
I have 2 bags of Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the kitchen just in case.
Nice.
Always gotta have my cereal, man. So I was able to catch on some things around the house, but not too much, just because I was vegging out really, because it was time to disconnect from work, and it's much needed. So there's a lot of projects that are still incomplete, but I got my laundry done. That's pretty much as far as I got done, like 1 or 2 loads. So but I spent the week really much bowling on Tuesday, and while we didn't win, I was able to bowl one of my best games of the year, finally breaking the 200 mark with a 208 on Tuesday. Nice. It was nice. I won, I put down some bets down, and I played on brackets. I ended up in second place in both of those brackets, so I won my money back. So for me, that's a win. I gambled a little bit, little thrill, and then you get your money back. So for me, that's a win. And then Wednesday, I was able to catch up over with our friend Ivan at his new spot over in Wrigley Soul. Great food. Trilogy was out there DJing New York hip hop.
The homie DJ Trilogy.
Exactly. He was out there DJing. I took over Louie and his girl out there. They wanted to hang out, so I was like, hey, come through. It's Biggie versus it's all New York hip hop, Jay-Z, all the whole clowns over there.
Chatterbox.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was right up his alley. So it was cool. The drinks were great. The food was really good. I'd recommend it. Go over to Soul over there in Wrigleyville. It's at the bottom edge of Wrigleyville. So
and that's his new spot, because he was at another spot for a long time.
He was at Blend. Yeah, my sister's old place that she used to own. Yeah. So and then Sean hits me up from the No Water on the Weekend. He's like, hey, there's a bowling tournament tomorrow morning. Are you in? And I was like, I was a little inebriated a little bit. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. He's like, what do you bowl? I'm like, well, I bowled a 208 yesterday, so I'm good. Let's do this. So we were over there, and I met his wife, Angie, and we bowled at Timber Lanes. I don't know if you remember Timber Lanes.
It sounds familiar.
It's over there in Irving Park off of Damon.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's a gray building.
You went past that.
You can always drive past it. If you're not looking for it, you're going to drive right past it.
I drove right past it actually Saturday. Yeah. And I literally looked over and I was like, damn, that place is still here, because they got the pro shop right down the street too.
Oh, Simmons.
Pro shop.
Yeah, Simmons. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Funny, what's funny is that I actually thought about you guys, because I'm thinking, I was like, this random ass pro shop, because I forgot the bowling alley was there, and it's almost like when you see a strip club and like 2 blocks away, he was like, hey, come and buy your stripper clothes.
that's location, right, sir.
So I looked out the window as we were driving past it, and I'm like, man, this is a random ass place to have a pro shop for bowling. And then we drove. I was like, oh shit, this place is still here.
It's in between the both bowling alleys. It's right there. It's right between Waveland. Waveland doesn't have a pro shop anymore, and Timber doesn't have a pro shop. But Timber is one of the oldest ones in the city. Yeah. They actually have wood. They're wood. Okay. They're actually wood lanes. So you have to step up.
What are the other lanes made out of?
I have no idea. I'm gonna ask that question on Tuesday. Because I guess, I don't know, is it like wood and then they put laminate on top? I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking what they do. But these are actual wood lanes. You can see the grain on them, and it was weird at first, because it's pretty high. You have to go up 3-4 steps, and that's where you sit down and whatever, and then you have to go up another step onto the approach. So you're really high. So everyone's down watching you, and you're really high. So that threw me off in that first game. But I as soon as I figured out the lanes, it was pretty cool. So you bowl one game, move over, then move over. And so you ended up bowling 3 games, but you move over every time the game is done. So bowling on wood, it was a new experience. And then I beat my current high of the year at 208 with a 219, sir. So this man is on cloud 9, but without angering the bowling gods, because they're fickle. They're very fickle. I want to continue. I want to continue my good fortune this Tuesday and keep going, because I want to actually win some money for once, man. I want to be like that dude that bowled the 300, almost a 300 against us, and take home, rent money, $1,000 here.
Yo, wasn't it a story about like 100-year-old man like still getting 300s?
Oh yeah, 100%. That happens all the time.
Yeah, like recently, like he's on the news and it was like, oh, I don't think anyone believes that I'm 90 years old because I act like I'm 75. And I'm like, there's a difference.
There's a huge difference. A quarter of a century, sir. There's wars in between.
No, that's only 15
generations.
It's only what 15 to 90 is. I mean, or 75, 90 is only 50. But the funny thing is that my highest bowl score is 420.
Hey, yeah, that's your series score, right? Anyways, you want to see what the adventures I get into? Follow me on IG at Big Z 606 Media Group or 606 Media Group on IG as well. But I digress and I kick it over. E, how was your week?
Oh man, it was busy. It's, my life is just busy as hell. I haven't been on since we went to go see Bellator with the Khabib's little cousin, Nurmagomedov. That was the least eventful fight of the evening. I came later out. I was like, "What is this?" And we were bored. We walked out before the thing was already complete.
We beat the traffic.
Yeah, we did. Because last time I went to Chicago Theater, we were like just stuck in the parking structure for like an hour. That was bullshit.
The worst.
But, yeah, so Thanksgiving, that was good. Hanging out with some family there. Got the pumpkin pie from the Sicilian Bakery. Shout out to my neighbor Anthony.
There we go.
Go check them out, Lawrence and Cumberland, 4632 North Cumberland Sicilian Bakery. They got a lot of old school Italian. His dad is like fresh off the boat Italian, right? So I mean, like, they got the old school. I think we're gonna go pick up some cannolis for Christmas, and yeah, man, we're doing it up. So yeah, that was a nice thing to be able to get from his shop, because you can get a pumpkin pie anywhere, but to get a homemade from the homie, that was nice to do. And then so that was Thanksgiving. Then on Friday, we just lounged around all day until my late nights, because hip hop shows are always late night shows. Went over to the Hippie Holidays 5 at it was a place I'd never been before. It is at the Elastic Arts Center, 3429 West Diversey, basically like Milwaukee Diversey and Kimball right there.
By the Gap.
Yeah. It's like on the second floor right there. I had no idea. I drove around for like 20 minutes looking for parking. I eventually ended up right literally in front of the Gap over there around the corner. But yeah, it was Mike Logic's birthday. So happy birthday, old man, Mike Logic. Yeah, so we went out. It was a good time, man. There was a very interesting place, because you got this is like it's like this avant-garde kind of art thing. There was a lot of hip-hop. There was Pugs Adams, a hobbyist who I'd never heard of. That's not a hip-hop artist. He was this like kind of drums and like hippie. Like I was like, I need way more drugs to enjoy this. Bad Wolf, great singer, working with the hobbyist. But like them two together, I wasn't a huge fan, but Bad Wolf was dope. Kyle Razin, I think that's how you say his name. My apologies for fucking that up. But he was the host of the whole event. He had a show, or he had his own set plus a set he did with some of these other artists. And then Green Lights Music, really, really dope hip hop group. They have like 5 or 6 different MCs that they kind of bring in and shift around. They have a singer. They have it's just, if you get a chance, go check out Green Lights Music, because they got a lot of different stuff going on. If you watch their videos, it kind of gave me like a Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul type of vibe. Just the 3 of them kind of going back and forth on the mic. So that was really dope. And yeah, man, hopefully one of them cats that are in that group is a huge Bears fan, so I think we might have to slide him in the show for the end of the season when we talk about the Bears again, man.
Definitely slide him in.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And then on Saturday, we went down to Wrigley Field for the Winter Wonderland at Gallagher Way. It's essentially the Christmas Kindle market that they do downtown by the Picasso. They basically did their own version over here at Gallagher Way. It was her first time down there to see kind of what the renovations look like, and to see everything open. And then they actually had it where you can for like $5 you go inside Wrigley. They had like a train ride that you could kind of essentially ride around the infield. They had they had like a skating rink and bumper boats
bumper cars thing on ice. Yeah,
a lot of cool stuff. It was just kind of cool to be inside Wrigley, and then I'm over there showing my daughter, like, hey, right here is where so-and-so plays. She's like, I don't care. no interest.
She's like, I came for the food.
Yeah, and the food was good. I mean, we had some good foods. We had like this sandwich. Don't ask me what the hell the name of it is, but it was like this. They take that big stinky block of cheese and they heat it up, and all the cheese melts, and you just slide it off right into the bread. Whew, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell it was called, but that sucker was delicious. And just hanging out, having a good time. We're in the line to go for the youngest to get on the carousel.
Yep.
And I'm like, why is there a tree in front of me? And it turns out it's Nikola Vucevic sighting, standing right in front of me. Watching him duck under the awning to get into the thing was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go say what's up to him, right? After the ride's over, I got my 2 girls. He gets off after me. He's literally got a child in each hand. I'm like, I can't bother to do with his kids.
Oh, I would have done it.
But while I'm over here telling Kim, like, hey man, pretty sure that's Vucci Man right there. She's like, what are you talking about? I have no idea who that is.
Wait a minute. She listens to the show. She should know who Vucci Man is.
The funny thing is like, so she's like trying to sneak a picture of him, and the photo she gets, he's literally looking dead at her. So she got a picture of him.
Whoops. Like, put your phone down all slowly and shit.
I think this lady's taking picture of me.
That's a good impersonation there, sir.
and it's a bad impersonation because he has a very American accent. He does not sound like that at all. But I mean, hey, that's an accent I've had in my back pocket for about 20 years. So I pull it out when it's needed. But yeah, overall, good holiday weekend. Hanging out, watching some football, on Thanksgiving, entertaining games to watch the Lions lose at the last minute. That was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And so they could stop bragging about that 3-game winning streak because no one cares.
No one cares.
But yeah, I mean, football, basketball, a little bit here and there, and
no FIFA for you
on the holidays.
No FIFA for you. No soccer?
Yeah. Also, there was a bunch of guys kicking stuff. I saw that. He's like, hey, I kicked it hard. And I was like, not hard enough. I know that U.S. Tied with England, and that was kind of an interesting thing because everyone's like, England's going to beat their ass, and they held their own. So they haven't scored a goal yet in the World Cup, but maybe are they playing Iran on Tuesday?
They are playing Iran on Tuesday, and this pretty much is going to let us know who's going to be in second place. So because England's going to take first place.
Well, yeah, because so far all they've been doing is Iraning there.
Iran.
They've been Iraning. And not scoring. So, yeah, I mean, that's it's not my thing. Like I said, I'll watch when we get to the championship, right? Like that's like, other than that, I'm like,
after Saturday. I think Saturday is the last day of the round of 16, the round robin. That's the last day of that round. After that, it'll be interesting because it'll play the full 90 minutes. They'll play the extra time if it goes into extra time, and then it goes to penalty kicks. So that's more of your speed. You're like, this will be exciting because there's going to be a winner, and it'll be scoring.
Yeah, playoffs, and essentially playoffs, right? Yeah. And I mean, you still got the stars coming out. I mean, you got Messi out there. I know there was a big deal about that, and there's reports now that soccer news for you. There's reports that he is going to be coming to Major League Soccer in the States soon, possibly.
I doubt it. No, there's other news too so you know how they exchange jerseys at the end. So he exchanged with Mexico. So there's a picture of him in the locker room, and it looks like his foot is on the Mexico jersey. But the reports from the Argentinian side is saying that he was taking it off, and when he took it off, it fell on his shoe, and he was kicking it off his shoe, and then he got Canelo trying to come for Messi, saying come with it, it's disrespecting the Mexico jersey. I'm like, I don't think he's gonna take a jersey from another player and do that. I don't think he's that type of dude.
No, and I don't think he's ever demonstrated that. I mean, like he is definitely a very animated guy, like kind of like LeBron. He has this thing where gravity is his greatest enemy because he seems to be laying down quite a bit. I don't know what that's about. I don't know.
Where do you think LeBron learned it from?
That's what I was about to say.
Sorry, sir. I mean, if there's something that the basketball players are going to learn from football or soccer players.
It's like something that we possibly also both observed as it's like, man, why is that guy down there again?
Oh, did you see LeBron's doppelganger, whatever, however we say that word, doppelganger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, playing for Ghana or whatever it was.
Now I know where he's been the whole time. There's a few of them out there. So hey, I don't know. Look, I'm not watching the World Cup until it gets interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. When it gets interesting, you let me know. Just shoot me a text, and I'll decide if there's nothing else on the TV.
Yeah.
And
it'll get interesting on Sunday, but Sunday's football day for you, so you're not going to watch any of it.
Yeah, nope. I mean, I'll watch it when the Bears game is over, and then I'll put on Red Zone on one, and maybe soccer.
Yeah, I'll shoot you an interesting game. I won't give you a BS game.
Yeah, I think they're all yes. Anyway, we got a jam-packed episode for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to check in with all of our teams in the loop. That's right, every single team with the hot stove baseball, with all the Bears injuries, with the terrible Blackhawks, and a little sneak peek of what's going on with the Chicago Bulls. We got all that plus stirring the pot and what you looking at. But first, this is the Big Three with Big Z.
Thanks, E-Rock. I'm Big Z, and you're not. Now for today's stories. Story number 1. Oh boy. Hey, do you ever have goldfish? Did you grow up with goldfish?
Crackers, yeah.
Yeah, those you demolish. All right, a British angler in France has caught the fish equivalent of a unicorn. The long, elusive goldfish known as the carrot. Yeah, no relation to Carrot Top. The carrot is more than 20 years old and weighs in at a whopping 67 pounds and 4 ounces, making it one of the world's largest goldfish. The guy who caught it says, I always knew the carrot was out. It was in there, but I never thought I would catch it. Andy Hackett is the guy who caught it he's 42. He spent 25 minutes reeling it in. I'm not doing that. Hold
up. The picture of that guy and the guy in that picture is 42 years old.
Yeah, he looks like he's 62.
He looks like Tom Waddle, and Tom Waddle's in his mid 50s.
And Tom Waddle looks better.
Like Tom Waddle.
And Tom Waddle still looks better.
Yeah, even after all the injuries and the sunburn.
Yeah, so he posed with the big fish inside the water and threw the fish back in afterwards. But he got the record or whatever, and he celebrated by having a cup of tea. So yeah, that fish looks disgusting.
Dude, that fish looks fake. That fish looks like it was made in the Jim Henson studios.
It looks like the one that that wood placket that they would do back in the 90s. That the fish on it was just fucking talking.
Take
like
me
that.
to the river.
Yeah, the one in The Sopranos.
Yeah.
That one he was afraid of.
That thing is terrifying. Ugh. I'm trying to figure out how big was the toilet that guy got flushed down.
And how long ago? Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Story number 2, and this is up your alley, sir. Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield are teaming up as business partners with Holy Ears. An edible cannabis product and take off their infamous moment where Tyson bit a chunk off Holyfield's ear in 97 in their heavyweight title fight. According to Fox, Holy Ears is a THC and Delta 8 THC infused edibles shaped like bitten ears, which will launch this November, which is now, through Tyson's 2.0 Boxers Cannabis Company. So what do you think about that, man?
So the funny thing is that number one, I'm not shocked at all. I'm pretty sure that Tyson's been very vocal about his use of cannabis for medicinal and recreational purposes. I did not know that he was that close with Evander Holyfield, that they're friends.
Yeah, they buried a hatchet a while ago.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is like, so back in the 90s, there was a company made these little stuffed things called infamous meanies, right? So I have one here. It is Dennis Rodman as like a praying mantis and all this stuff. Yeah. But, and it's like Bill Clinton with like, but he's got his pants down, and Madonna, but it's Madonna in the shape of a cow, right? The other one I have is Mike Bison. It is Mike Tyson, but he is a bison. He's standing up, and literally in the toy itself, he has a piece of bloody ear hanging out of his mouth, and it has a gold tooth and everything. So that's immediately what it makes me think of. Look, at this point, I mean, I think a lot of these celebrities that, like I said, are cannabis advocates are making their own companies. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z has a weed company. I'm 99% sure. What's that?
Jim Belushi has one.
Nobody cares about Jim Belushi. Don't ever bring him up ever again.
Oh boy, sensitive subject there, sir.
That guy sucks. That guy, they look. God took the wrong Belushi. That's all I got to say.
Oh wow!
But yeah,
that was so mean.
But I know Snoop has a weed company. I'm pretty sure Martha Stewart has a stake in that because she's over there posing topless at like 7 years old with Snoop. Oh yeah.
I did not want to know about that.
There's no way. They haven't done something at some point.
He had to. He's like, I got to pay these tax evasion bills.
So yeah, I mean, this is look, I think it's cool. Whatever you can do to bring awareness to cannabis. The fact I will once again talk on the fact that weed is legal and that you can literally go to a store and buy weed is amazing.
Oh yeah, we grew up with the complete opposite.
Hell yeah.
Upbringing where like, oh, weed's the devil's lettuce, and it does all this bad stuff. I'm like, oh.
They find a baggie near you and they want to lock you up. Like, it was near me on the ground. It wasn't even mine. You walk past the shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So, So are you gonna buy some ears?
No, not unless I go to Michigan, where it's like literally 10% of the cost that we pay in Illinois at the dispensary.
Yeah, Michigan City.
Hey, road trip.
There we go. All right, E. When you fly. For story number 3, and sorry, I usually gotta go story number 3, but I was excited about this one. When you pack a bag, what do you pack in your bag when you're traveling, when you're flying?
When I fly, I usually pack a bowl.
Okay, but what do you put in a bag?
Weed. No, I mean, look, I usually have at least one outfit for every day, right? At least 2 pairs of shoes and at least 1 or 2 extra pairs of drawers just in case I shart real quick or something.
Exactly. Socks, extra socks and extra drawers, always.
100%.
So, somebody decided to pack their pussy.
Whoa,
pussy cat. An orange cat was found in a checked bag at John F. Kennedy International Airport on November 16. A TSA spokesman told the news. The cat passed undetected until it went through an X-ray unit. Duh, I mean, come on. Triggering an alarm and a shocking TSA officer upon its discovery.
Are you sure it wasn't just a 20-pound goldfish?
I know, that's what I was thinking too. The TSA administration then contacted the airline and alerted the traveler of the stray feline. The traveler said that the cat belonged to someone else in his home, and according to TSA spokesperson, thankfully the cat is out of the bag and safely at home.
Wow.
Yeah, that
was very, very punny.
There's 2 puns in there.
So first of all, I mean, this is it's not mine. I'm holding it for somebody else. I mean, where have you heard that before?
If you're holding Tyson's ears.
Yeah. I honestly don't understand how you make it that far with a cat in your bag. I saw the X-ray of this. It's kind of terrifying because the X-ray just shows like the thermal imaging of the cat is literally completely red because that's all you see through the bag. You're like, hey, that thing is living. Why is it so warm? Like, what the fuck?
Like, what did you have to do to calm the cat down? Because cats don't like to be held like that or in small confinements. They don't like that.
What was the name of this passenger? Was it fucking Alf? Was he just bringing down his snack for the plane? Like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my
god! Yeah. He's like, no, I'm gonna go kosher. I brought my own meal.
I knew I was gonna get hungry on my way back to Melmac.
Wow. Yeah. All right, for our young listeners, you're gonna have to go to YouTube, type in Alf, and watch this ALF, and watch this ridiculous brown thing eat cats. Yeah,
it was a baguette with feet. What are you talking about? Hey, $1 if you know what ALF stands for.
Alien life form.
Son of a bitch! I don't have any dollars.
I came here to chew gum and kick ass. I'm all out of gum, so
I came here to chew on a kitty cat.
Oh man, I am Big Z, and that's news to me. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Meow.
Oh my god, I wonder who was petting that Pussycat on the way up there.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey, this is comedian Ken Garr, and I was just a guest on the True Chicago Sports Fans podcast with Big Earl and G-Money and a bunch of weirdos. So tune in.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Listen, since we're coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, what better than to give you a full serving of Chicago sports?
This is The Loop, our Chicago sports roundup where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
All right, y'all, let's start off with the appetizers. You know, the chip and dip, the pigs in a blanket, the veggie tray, the cheese ball. And since the stove is already hot, let's talk some baseball. Z, what's up? What's going on with these Southsiders, bro?
I have no idea what they're doing up there. I fucking don't know.
Do they?
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Former Cleveland and San Diego starter Mike Clevinger agreed to a one-year deal with the White Sox for around $8 million. That's what it looks like. So this is all pending a physical. It's very high ceiling, low risk. He fills a void that Cueto leaves behind. So that really shuts the door on Cueto because he was probably going to ask for a lot more and a multi-year deal, which they did not want to give him. After going Tommy John surgery that sidelined him for the entirety of the 2021 season, Clevinger returned to the Padres in this past May. He experienced a noticeable drop in velocity, his fastball averaging 93.5 miles per hour compared to 95 in the 2019 and 2020 seasons. This likely contributed to a decreased strikeout rate 18.8% in 2022 compared to 27.5 in 2020 and 22.6 in 2019. This is normal. The first year after Tommy John surgery is a normal thing for everyone to have a drop. They don't have the strength. It takes a while to get back from Tommy John, and everybody's different, and he's an older guy. You're not 25, 24, like there were some of these guys that are getting Tommy John now. So this is a big deal for the White Sox because they're buying low, and the ceiling is very high.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that has been an all-star. He's been on very good playoff teams. I mean, it's not, he was on the Padres this last season, so he kind of knew what it was like to kind of be in that playoff push again. So he does have the experience being an older guy. But I mean, like when we talk about Tommy John surgery, we know that it can knock you out for a full baseball season because it's not about the healing. It's about getting back into baseball shape.
Correct.
I mean, you look at right now, Bryce Harper on the Phillies just had Tommy John, and you're going to see him probably halfway through the season next year because they just finished the season. So, I mean, like this is an injury and this is a surgery that you can actually recover from much quicker than you ever could before. So, I mean, as far as that goes, like it's in his favor. And like you said, $8 million for a guy that, is going to on 3-4 years ago is like a number 2 in your rotation.
Correct.
Right? So now you add him to a lot of the young guys that you have. And you're replacing Johnny Cueto, who did a good job for you. I mean, at some points he was the only guy doing a good job. And you could see that even though he was the new guy on the block, as far as the White Sox are concerned,
he was definitely a leader.
He was the leader. He seemed to be a lot of times during the season the only one who actually cared to be out there and compete.
100%.
And some team out there, some team is going to overpay for him, but he might be the piece that pushes some team over the edge to win a championship.
100%. That he is the Jose Contreras, the El Duque, you know, that puts the cherry on top of that sundae that gets you over. He showed you what he can do. I mean, he had what, 2 bad outings the entire time he was with the White Sox, and the rest of the time, like when he gave up like 2 or 3 runs or 4 runs, he's looking at his guys like, dude, can you guys fucking play some fucking defense? Like, can you really just wake the fuck up and play some defense? It's so annoying. I got to pitch 7, 8 innings at 37 years old. It's ridiculous. So, right on the White Sox. Oh, did you have something for that?
Well, because here's the thing with Cueto. I mean, unfortunately for him, I think what's gonna happen is that he's gonna end up getting signed by a team that just is desperate for someone to put in a rotation, and that's probably gonna be a bad team, not someone to looking at add someone to finish off their starting rotation, right? Yeah. That's the sad thing for him, because he performed so well with the White Sox that he almost priced himself out of where he realistically should be at this point in his career. And like I said, the best case scenario for him is to join a team like let's say he goes over to the Padres and takes Cleveringer's spot, right? I mean, that'd be perfect.
That'd be perfect, yeah.
You know, older guy, it's not cold weather like here in Chicago. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, and you don't have all that pressure because they got all those guys over there that can alleviate that pressure that you would have. I mean, like, I think he thought he would get it with the White Sox. It just never really happened for him.
Right. He would be there to be an innings eater. He's a 5th starter. He's gonna give you your 6, 7 innings an outing, and he's a good pitcher. He's a good leader, good guy in the clubhouse. He's a solid dude. He is. I mean, wouldn't you mind him on the Cubs?
I mean, this moment, no, I wouldn't take him now, like for this team. But I mean, like I said, if this was like the 2015 Cubs going to 16, it's John Lackey, right? Like that's right, you know, right there.
Yeah, he's not here for a haircut.
Yeah, sure ain't. He ain't been for a haircut in a long time.
He definitely got his teeth fixed though. The White Sox have a projected staff of Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Michael Kopech. Kopech is recovering from left knee strain and right shoulder inflammation. We don't know what's happening with Kopech. No, Kopech don't know what's going on with Kopech. Giolito is actually going to lose all that bulk, all that creatine, that the Simpsons juice that he took, and get back to regular size. He thought that was going to help him with not being hurt, you know, his being healthy more and strengthening. And all it did was really slow him down and not let him be the Lucas Giolito that we know. And then Lance Lynn, he came off that knee surgery, and you know, after the first 2 months, he was great. So you got to remember, he had no spring training. So the first 2 months that he was pitching, that was his spring training, and after that, he settled down. Yeah. So you had Cease and Lynn and Cueto holding it down with no offense, no defense. It was a bad combination, and especially no coaching.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right about the no coaching part. I mean, I think it is a shame. I think really the White Sox have some soul searching to do right now. This offseason is going to tell you a lot. They already found their manager. We didn't talk about them. It was Pedro Grifol or whatever it was from the
Pedro Grifol. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the Royals also needed a manager, but they did not take him, right?
And also they needed a bench coach when they hired him, and they didn't take him either.
Yeah, so I mean, there's something there that leaves something to be desired, but I'm hoping that he can put together a staff that's going to maximize the potential that, you know, we saw Dylan Cease kind of rise to the top. You know, he rode his mustache all the way to the top. You know, Lance Lynn, aka young John Lackey. You know, he ain't here for a haircut either, but he got to win some games, right? Giolito's got to come back to form. Kopech, I mean, I think we had a lot of high hopes for Kopech, but he hasn't really been healthy either. Right. So I mean, like, there's a lot of, when it comes to pitching for the Chicago White Sox,
a lot of question marks.
A lot of moving pieces still, and it's interesting because don't forget, you still got Crochet that's got to come back and see what he's going to do in the bullpen, because I don't see. I mean, that's where he's going to be. I mean,
Crochet will be in the bullpen. Yeah, Crochet will be in the bullpen for this upcoming season, and then based on that, they might slide him into the rotation in 2024. That's if he can stay healthy. I don't think that's a good role for him to be a starter either ways.
No, I honestly, personally, like with the type of gas that he has, I think he would be best suited as a closer.
Yeah, you put him in right now in the 8th spot, and you still have Hendricks. If Hendricks goes down, slide him up. It's
Yeah,
very.
well, I mean, just I'm thinking about him also long term, right?
Exactly.
Like, he's a pretty young guy. I mean, he's 2 years removed from college.
Yeah.
So 2-3 years. I think the 2020 season is when he got hurt the first time.
Yeah. Thank you, Ricky.
Way to go, Ricky.
Yeah, the past couple coaches we've had have really fucked up a lot of pitchers. Besides, we had the crotch rocket, we had Rodon getting fucked over. It's been
taking the Dusty Baker approach to pitching. It's like, hey, you only had 100 pitches, you got 20 more.
You throw 20 in between innings, anyways. Go ahead, keep going.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Speaking of changes on the South Side, the rich are getting richer, and it ain't the White Sox. It's the defending World Series champion, Houston Cheaters.
Ooh.
Or the Astros.
Did they cheat this year?
I don't know yet. I mean, no one's checking Altuve's, flak jacket.
Look, I don't know if I've talked about Dusty winning a championship. I talked about my desire for him to win the championship, and that's why if I had to root for one, I mean, you guys.
I'm happy for Dusty. Yeah, I'm
Dusty. It's cool that he finally got the title, and he's what, 73, but he's a young 73. Because he comes out and he's got that spit and vinegar. He had all that energy, and he came out right after the championship, and he was on TV and he's talking about, hell yeah, I'm coming back next year, me and my toothpick. Like, he's ready, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's got the spunk. He's got the old man spunk. Sparky Anderson. There's been a bunch of coaches that that have been that elder statesman that had the spunk and the fire. Still, they're not a Tony La Russa like
mumbles.
Yeah, just like the owner, just complete mumble. It just continues to go, and I mean, if it's been a waste because you had Abreu. He played his 9-year career with the White Sox. As we're recording this, you can see the Abreu frame behind me. It's signed jersey. It's framed up picture, and I'm like, we wasted a 9-year career, and obviously we didn't know how old he was when he signed, but he made his last All-Star game in 2019 at 35. He was a candidate for he was AL MVP in 2020 for the shortened season. He was a good guy to have. He continued the mantle that was left over by Paul Konerko. He continued the first baseman tradition that we have in Chicago of having really good first basemen on either side of town.
You're going to have Andrew Vaughn slide right in there, and I think he's going to be a very good player at first. So, I mean, I'm not really worried about that. I think you have someone to carry that torch. But, I mean, like, you look at the accomplishments that Abreu had on the South Side, and even when the team was absolutely terrible, he was like a beacon of light for Sox fans, something to hang your hat on. So, I don't know if I would say that his career was wasted in his 9 years here, because I do think he brought a lot to the White Sox. The fact that he had the communication with the Cuban pipeline, like everything that he brought to that team, I think he was, a leader. I think he helped to develop some of the younger guys. Hopefully now that he's no longer with the White Sox, some of these other guys actually step up and come up to the plate. TA needs to be one of them guys, because he is the biggest face on the Chicago White Sox right now. He's the most notorious player, the one with the most notoriety, the most famous player on the White Sox right now. Yeah. Especially after everything that happened last year with Josh Donaldson. He is at top of mind, especially being a black MLB player that we saw no American-born black MLB players in the World Series. So, I mean, he can be a catalyst to kind of help drive a lot of interest, not just for Chicago Southside baseball, but baseball in general for younger black kids, So I think he is got to be the guy that steps up. So I don't necessarily think that Abreu's career with the White Sox was wasted, because I do think that he played a key role in a lot of things that they did while he was here, and he's going to have a lasting effect when he's gone.
What I meant by that was the last 4 years with Ricky Renteria and Tony La Russa. That's what I meant. Like that was this prime where he was peaking. He was, an all-star, and then he was the AL MVP. You had him at his best at that point, and the administration there didn't go all out and cash in on that. Now, again, it's time to move on. I think Andrew Vaughn would be just perfectly fine there. I think at first base, that's his natural position. You won't have to worry about the defense. He's really good defensively. His bat's going to turn around because he's going to get more at bats. It's going to be fine. but we also have more holes now. There's no one in right. We really don't have a left fielder.
Imagine you hit like a weak grounder to short and you're just trying to get down the first base line as quickly as possible. And then he just fucking turns around and looks at you with those fucking Walter and Gromit eyes. I would just run. I would run right to the dugouts. I mean, that's a benefit right there.
You're like, nope.
Hell no. Wallace and Gromit ass.
Yeah, he does look like him. Let's see. Bruce Levine of 670 Scores reporting that the Chicago White Sox are showing interest in Milwaukee Brewers second baseman Colton Wong. Wong is 32 under contract with the Brewers in 2023, so you'd have to be acquired via trade. Second base is an area of need for the White Sox in 2023 and 2022 and 2021 and 2020 and so on and so on. White Sox, after declined second baseman Josh Harrison's option, leaves a hole. The left-handed hitting second baseman owned a 251, 339, 430 slash in 134 games in 2022. Most importantly, Chicago, Wong would add about 15 homers and 47 RBIs to that position.
He's definitely not an offensive juggernaut by any means, but he's a solid second baseman. And like you said, it's been an area of need for the Sox for many, many years at this point. And, hopefully I don't know if he's the answer, because I feel like there's guys that they could probably put in that position, but they just don't have anyone athletic enough. If they realistically, you think about this, like if they were to go after one of these shortstops that are out there, you could figure out.
Yeah, you move Moncada to second.
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing to do. You go out and get it. Go get Swanson. I want Swanson.
Dansby Swanson, because he's kind of more the under the radar of all the guys that are free agents right now.
Yeah. I would literally go. Everyone's gonna go for Judge and the big cash out. No, I'm gonna go give me that third baseman. Move Moncada to second. I mean, Moncada's got a great glove. It's just
he's got to do something.
He's got exactly. Besides make bachata music. Okay, on the rumor mill, Wilson Contreras to the White Sox. A former MLB player thinks it's the right fit. I want you to listen to this, E.
We all thought Wilson Contreras was going to get traded at the deadline. He ended up finishing the season with the Cubs, so now he's a free agent. What's a sleeper spot for him?
I think a pretty good spot for him is to stay in the same city that he's at, but just not the same team. So let's go to the White Sox, and let's see what happens. Look, the White Sox have had some issues behind home plate. Grandal, I think, played, 90 games, something like that. I think this dude could fit into a lineup in Chicago, and he could make them serious contenders in the Central. I think they're kind of contenders anyway, but this dude's age is good enough, durable. He goes out there and plays, and there's nothing wrong with these numbers when you're talking about some statistics to throw out there that says, you know what, he's better than what we got. And I think that would be a pretty good move. Stay in Chicago, just go to a different location.
That'd be problem.
All right, so I'm gonna rewind this a little bit. So the graphic that they have on there, Wilson Contreras 2020 statistics: home runs has 22, tied for fourth. On base percentage 349, fourth. Slugging percentage 466, fifth. OPS plus 128, tied for third. WAR 3.9, tied for fourth. This is in comparison to other catchers in MLB. He is top 5 in every category. Plus, he's really good defensively. He fits anywhere.
This is the exact reason why I wanted the Cubs to hold on to him.
Right, but if you weren't going to hold on to him, you should have traded him to a team and got something back. That's notorious for the Chicago teams to do the same exact shit. Oh, yeah, we really value him. We think he might come back. No, everyone leaves.
Here's the funny thing, though, because, the Cubs management got shit for getting rid of Baez and Bryant and Rizzo and not keeping Schwarber. And then, they trade them off. But then when they keep Wilson, I'm like, y'all got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be upset about one, and then when you don't do that same thing with the other one, you know what I mean? It's just weird. I mean, again, I've openly expressed my desire for the Cubs to find a way to either bring them back or hold on to them when they did have them. And look, they gave him the arbitration number, which was close to $20 million a year. They offered him that because the thing is that, to me, if you really want to be here, you could have took that. You could have took that, and then they extended your contract, because what that does is that locks you up and says, hey, okay, I know what's going on here. You know, I know this team. I'm comfortable here. This is my family. Just the way that he, you know, the crazy thing is that he almost had like a swan song season with the Cubs, the way that they
100%.
kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, rallied around him and this and that. And he's crying during the All-Star game with his brother and all this other stuff. So the only reason that I want to see Contreras on the South Side just to help them and just because they're a Chicago team.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you imagine if he goes to the White Sox and then they win a title? There would be a lot of kind of going back and forth about, well, the amount of time that he actually spent on the, you know, as an active player, you know, when the Cubs were going for their World Series, when you had Miguel Montero and you had David Ross, you know, you got Contreras right there as a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes over to the White Sox and becomes a very integral cog in the machine that they're trying to build. Where did he have the biggest impact, right? So that's another storyline that we can do an entire show about that. So
100%.
maybe I am in favor of it.
But then he'll have the chip that no one has a chip. You have a championship on both sides of town. No one has that. I mean, he's already a man that can walk into any restaurant and not have to pay for something. But he will be, you know, they'll put a statue on both sides of town for this man because he's got a championship on both sides. I mean, it would be nuts. Also, I wanted Abreu to go to the Cubs. Just saying that right now. Just as your DH.
Okay.
He kills in Wrigley Field. His numbers kill there.
Yeah, I like I said, I mean, when we talked about it a couple episodes ago, like if it had to come between Abreu or Rizzo, I'm taking Rizzo, and there's a reason. And look, I didn't think he was leaving the Yankees. I mean, that didn't surprise me at all when he re-signed with the Yankees. So, yeah. I mean, again, I think just for, and it's not even really, you know, you were saying, well, it's got to be nostalgia. Being one of the guys that helped the Cubs, being the first cog that helped the Cubs win the World Series in 2016 means a lot. So when you're talking about all these young guys that are going to be coming up in the next couple of years, having Rizzo in there, like to really because you do have Rossi and that's your manager, but I mean having a player on that team, all you have left is Hendricks.
To be the bridge,
not just the bridge, but just like, yo, like this is what it was like to win a World Series for the Chicago Cubs. Come and help me do another one. You know, let's do it again. You know what I mean? Like that's right there, you know, you build a statue of Rizzo tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I don't see why not.
All right. Speaking of the Cubs, they haven't made any splashy moves yet, but they have been busy. Northsiders non-tendered outfielder Rafael Ortega, along with former prospects Braylon Marquez and Alexander Vizcaíno, making them free agents. Chicago also avoided arbitration with righties Adrian Sampson for $1.9 million and Rowan Wick for $1.55, and they both got one-year deals for the 2023 campaign.
Nice.
The remaining arbitration-eligible player for the Cubs, a group led by All-Star and Gold Glover Ian Happ and shortstop Nico Horner. There were also tendered contracts.
So they were tendered contracts, which is great because if they don't sign, you still get draft picks for them if they leave. Same thing with the Wilson Contreras thing. You know, you offered him a contract. He said no. That's an extra draft pick, which helps out the organization. I would like to see Ian Happ back on the north side. I want him in center field. I think he's proven that he can do what is asked of him. He's matured shitloads from the beginning of his career when he got benched and so forth. And I think he's like. Now he's the elder statement that he's got the games underneath him. He's gone through the winning and now the losing, and you know it's time to reward the kid. I think he'd be a good addition for the next edition of the Cubs, who don't know who they are yet, but they are gonna go spend
right,
and they're gonna put a team out there that's competitive. That's already been said by the GM and the owners that they're going to spend money and they're going to have a competitive team this year.
I mean, the thing with Happy in particular, I mean, I think that when we come around the All-Star break, when we come around the trade deadline, if the Cubs are not in a position where they can contend at least for a wild card, he's going to be moved on to another team, and they're going to see what they can do. Because again, you're coming off of a Gold Glove season. As long as he can kind of still kind of hold on to some of that, because we've seen situations where players like were great prospects and they finally figured it out, and then look at Giolito, like he figured it out, and then you kind of see him, you see that potential, you see him looking in the window, come in the house, stop looking in the window, right? Complete the journey. Right. So the problem is that sometimes they leave the house, they go off and do their shit in the winter, and then they forget how to come back in the house. So hopefully he can kind of continue what he was able to kind of build upon in this last season. Nico, I mean, he's an interesting player because, at the position that he plays, we know that the Cubs are going to be looking for another shortstop. They are all in. I mean, we're looking at the MLB Network insider John Morosi. He's expecting the Cubs to land one of the marquee free agent shortstops, which is basically Trey Turner, Carlos Correa, who we've talked about extensively on this show, Xander Bogaerts, and then your boy Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
He said, I will be very surprised if the Cubs do not add one of the big four superstar shortstops who are available in free agency this winter. This is now their time. Any of the four would help the Cubs replace the star power that they lost last year when they traded Javi Baez to the Mets. And look, whether it's Bogaerts or Turner or Correa or Dansby Swanson, Rossi says he does expect the Cubs to find a way to bring in a top shortstop. Now, with that being said, you got to look at a guy like Nico Horner, who had to fill that void once Javi was gone, but he's been injured a lot in his career. So he has to be a guy that can be versatile, right? He's got to be a guy that can move around to spots where they need him. And if he can become that utility player, then he could be a lot more valuable.
Would you like him at second base over Nicky Two Strikes?
I mean, if that's his natural position, right? That's like little Nicky's natural position. He's not a big guy, so he doesn't have that cannon that you would need to if he was trying to move over. Because where else are you going to put him? You're going to stick him in the outfield?
Well, I'm saying which one of these two would you make your utility player?
Make a utility. If I had to pick one versus the other, I'm making Nico Horner a utility player, just because he's bigger, he's stronger. You know what I mean? Like I know he has the arm to play short. I know he has the arm to play third when you need him. I know he has the arm to play outfield.
In the outfield, right?
You know what I mean? I know that he has the glove to play first if you need him, right? So I mean, to me, that could be your Ben Zobrist player.
He's your Larry Garcia.
Larry. Let's also add the Cubs to the long list of teams with interest in right-hander Kodai Senga. According to The Athletic, Chicago is monitoring a group of starting pitchers that include Senga. The Japanese star is also reportedly drawing interest from the Mets, the Giants, the Padres, the Rangers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Dodgers. So basically, every big team that's out there in every major market is looking at this guy naturally. But it would be silly if the Cubs were not in it because, again, the Mets, the Giants, the Padres, the Rangers, they just have money to spend.
They always spend money.
Red Sox and Dodgers, right? Those, I mean, like, you look, New York, San Francisco, San Diego, Texas, New York again, Boston, LA, like every major market is going after this guy. You got to have your hat in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to put your hat in the ring if you're going to be contending. And unfortunately, the White Sox are not in this. But why? I mean, Rick Hahn's going to be like, oh, we had a conversation. Stop with the conversation and start producing shit. I hate that bullshit. The Mets go out there and they spend money. They throw money at people. The Giants do the same thing. The Padres have been, they were notorious of buying players, in free agency, and then 2-3 years later, selling everybody off and then starting all over. Them and the Florida teams would always do that. Yep. That's not the case anymore. The Padres are contenders now. The Rangers, same thing. They'll buy a lineup and then it sucks, and then they'll sell everybody off. You got Marcus Semien. That was one of the biggest free agents.
Yeah.
What happened? Everyone forgot about him in Texas. He hasn't done anything. The Yankees will buy a championship. You know that for a fact. They're going to go out there and spend the money. They'll spend the $1 billion payroll. They're going to re-sign Judge. I don't see no way. I don't see he goes to the Giants. I don't. And if the Cubs are going to,
that's really I think that's the only other team that we've really heard that are serious talks with Judge.
Right, and as much as I would love him in Wrigley Field and him hitting 500-foot home runs, I mean, that alone makes you want to go to Wrigley Field. I'd go. Let's go see Judge put one over into the lake. I want to see that, but that's not going to happen because the Cubs are trying to build a team that's going to have lasting sustainability for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's what the Cubs are trying to do. So you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. So I think the Cubs are going to be doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see Judge. I would never lie and tell you that I don't want to see Judge on the north side. But again, I honestly, like, if they found a way to pull it off, I mean, you could also look at this at like one of the pieces, the first piece of the puzzle as far as a major league ready player. You have all these guys in the minors who have been doing really well, but you do need to fill the roster with major league players, because you spent the 2022 season plugging in and bringing in all your minor leaguers that are 30 years old, the guys that just finally got the chance to play in the majors. Let's see what you can do. I mean, you know, Rafael Ortega, you know, Frank the Tank, you know, all these guys right there that got their chance. We've seen a couple of young guys really blossom. Christopher Morel had a great season. But, you know, you have to find a way to bring in some of these major league ready players. Speaking of which, there are 11 clubs, including the Astros, the Cubs, and the Giants, that have expressed interest in 27-year-old former Dodger Cody Bellinger, non-tendered by the Dodgers earlier this month, according to an MLB report by network insider John Heyman. Bellinger is likely seeking a one-year deal after another lackluster season in which he hit .210 with a slash line, .265 and .389 with 19 home runs over 144 games. Again, he's another guy that when he was a bit younger, he had a lot of potential. And the problem is that sometimes when you, as a minor leaguer, and you're trying to blossom as a major league player on a team that's already full of superstars. It's not just stars. It's not other guys that are trying to come up with you. It's a team full of superstars. Sometimes you kind of get lost in the sauce, and you know, you don't play up to potential because these other guys, you almost take a step back because these other guys are filling that role and filling that void where you feel like, well, the pressure's not on me. I don't have to do this or I don't have to do that. I mean, and I don't even think that's like his mindset. I just think that, you know, subconsciously you kind of peel back a little bit from having to feel like you have to do too much because of all that star power around you.
Yeah, for Bellinger, you had that. He came up in his rookie season. That's when the Dodgers won the World Series, and you know, then they get Mookie Betts added to the mix. So now you have that. You know, where do I fit in? Am I in right field? Am I playing center? And so there wasn't a consistent playing time, and because he wasn't producing, and the Dodgers are notorious for this, next man up. You ain't producing, get out the way, go all the way to the end of the bench, and we'll pick up the next minor leaguer up here, or we'll make a trade, and we'll stuff somebody in there, and they start producing. And that's what happened. He got lost in a shuffle. He ended up batting .210, .265, and .389. That's not something that's attractive to most of the teams. People are going to buy low for that 1 year and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like you said, that the Dodgers have never been shy about next man up mentality. You know, it's just they went out and they got Trey Turner. You know, I mean, they didn't care about whoever was you know what I mean? Like no. they had no care. Like they just didn't care. They're like, whatever, he can help me better. You know, it's just there's no loyalty to their players. I feel like
not at all.
I mean, look at the fact, you know, like Mookie Betts. Oh my God, it's Mookie Betts. So look, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that the Cubs could be doing. I think this offseason is going to tell you a lot about what they feel about their minor league prospects. And looking at the minors, the Cubs prospects are showing their potential in big ways. Less than 24 hours removed from putting on a show during the Arizona Fall League Home Run Derby, the Cubs' number 21 prospect earned 2022 Fall Stars Game MVP honors after swatting an opposite field 2-run round tripper to back the National League squad in its 9-3 victory over the AL at Sloan Park earlier this month. Dude, it is absolutely crazy. Matt Mervis is going to be one. That's why I'm not really worried about a lot of the moves that they've been making, because you look at what potential we're seeing in the minors. Now we've seen injuries. We've seen Ed Howard have an issue right now. There was another player, and I can't remember who it is right now, that actually had another injury in the minors for the Cubs. But I mean, you look at the way that their minor league system. I mean, look at Pete Crow Armstrong. That's their number 1 prospect and the number 30 prospect in all of baseball. He won his first minor league Gold Glove, right? I mean, look, you look at what they have when they traded Baez. Guess who they got? They got PCW. They got Pete Crow Armstrong, the number 1 prospect in the Cubs, the number 30 overall prospect in MLB. I mean, come on, you're restocking the shelves. You look at what Javi is doing right now and what he did this last season in Detroit. I mean, I'm gonna take the shitty season that we just went through all day if I know that this kid is coming down the pipeline.
I think the Cubs did the right thing by trading Javi. And you got a high-rated prospect, and he's actually panning out. Being number 1 in your system and 30 in the MLB, that's saying something. Coming up with a Gold Glove, that's another notch on his belt that's going to show out when the Cubs bring him up. And I don't know when they're going to bring him up because they haven't talked about is he going to be starting yet because they still have to make moves. Will it be up this year? I can guarantee he'll be up this year.
Yeah, he'll be up at the very least at the end of the season. I mean, or it just depends. We can't really make a prediction of when he's going to join the major league club until we see who they sign, right? That's going to be the big key right there. Yeah. And then it says, okay, we believe that this guy's going to be ready in, July, or this guy's going to be ready in June, and this guy we're going to bring in August after the All-Star break, whatever it is. But that's the big thing is that, you have to see where all these guys, where they fit in.
Yeah, I completely agree. We were waiting for that first domino to fall for you guys. Once that happens, you're going to see a lot of more movements. And like I said, shortstop, outfield.
I think, who was it? Corey Seager that they had as a shortstop before they brought in Trey Turner?
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Yeah, Corey Seager.
Dodgers had no problem.
Nope. They give no fucks. And both Turners are free agents.
Yep. Which is crazy. Well, not necessarily crazy, but I mean, again, these are one of those guys that can kind of put you over the hump. That's kind of unexpected, off the radar by a lot of guys right now.
Yeah, but the Dodgers don't care about replacing superstars. We'll get somebody else. We don't care.
Right.
And you can't fault them for that mentality because that's a winning mentality. We're gonna put the best product out there.
New Patriots mentality right there. Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of you before you get a year too early instead of a year too late.
Exactly. That's why I'd be very leery about Bellinger.
Finally, a shout out to John Lackey. He's up for the first time since retiring. He's up for the Major League Hall of Fame. Look, I don't think he's going to make it. I don't know if he'll make it further down the line, but I mean, again, he didn't come here for a haircut. He's a 2-time World Series champion. Early in his career with the Angels back in the day was at 01 and of course on the 2016 Cubs. So I mean, look, that big horse of a bastard. I hope he gets some votes because he's definitely especially after he spent time with the Cardinals. I'm like, hey, come over here. We know how to treat you as right, and you get all the free haircuts you want, even if you don't want them.
Yeah, he'd be sponsored by Chiclets or something.
All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more Chicago sports.
Hey, this is Mikey O, and you're listening to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. Don't forget to visit Mikey O at Mikey O Show or www.MikeyOShow.com.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Oh, yeah.
Let's continue with the Loop. Z, next up, let's talk some Chicago Blackhawks hockey.
Well, this is going to be short, just like the Blackhawks season, because they suck. They are dead last in the Central with 6 wins and 11 losses. It is definitely time to look for suitors for Kane and Taves. And you know, you got teams out there like the Stars and the Jets and the Avalanche that are contenders. The Blues are even contenders, even at 500. And then on the West, the Pacific Division, you got the Golden Knights, my second team. You know, you gotta have a second team when it comes to Chicago. Yeah, I love the Knights out there, and our boy Tone out there in Vegas doing it big. And you also have the Kraken, you know, the expansion team doing it big. Yeah. They're 13-5-3, and then the Kings, again, another LA team that doesn't mind flipping players, and the Oilers are again 500 team, but you want to be around 500 with hockey, just because you have a chance to get in. So again, you gotta get maximum return for these players right now, because they can help a contender to put them over the edge.
Yeah, I mean, the Blackhawks actually did pretty well to start the season, but they've been failing lately. I mean, they just lost on Sunday 7-2, very reminiscent of the Bears when they played the Jets. The Blackhawks lost 7-2, and at the same time against the Winnipeg Jets in this case. So, I mean, it's again, you got a brand new coach, you got a bunch of young guys, you got a bunch of unproven guys, but then you got your elder statesmen, you got Kane, you got Taves, and the rest of that team, you know, they just gave Haas the honor, and the rest of that team is either retired or on another team, right? I mean, Duncan Keith is retired, Patrick Sharp is retired, Hossa is retired, Jarmelson is retired. All of these guys that you had, I mean, you still got that second wave that came after that last championship, Panarin and all these other guys, they're in the league still. But I mean, you know, you look at where the Blackhawks are just not appointment TV like they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. It's showing that they're going on a youth, you know, kind of rebuilding. And you have, again, a new whole new administration in the office, new coach. A lot of these players were moved. You know, we celebrated a Hall of Famer, and he said he'll be back for a couple more rafters. So we're going to see that. We're going to see a couple of these guys from the championship team get their banner put up in the UC. But it is time to move on, man. It just really is, and it's time to move on to a different sport, sir.
Well, real quick, right now, I mean, you talk about bottom of the barrel. The Blackhawks are literally bottom of the barrel. They have lost 7 straight in their last 10. They're 1-7-2. So their points differential is negative 26 right now. So yeah, I mean, there's again, they started off hot, but they just cannot. They can't seem to get out of their own way and get over that hump. So we'll see what happens going forward. Let's move over to the other tenant of the madhouse on Madison, the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls, these guys are when it comes to playing a good team, they step up and they come to play. And it's the same story with the Chicago Bulls over the last years. They'll get up for the big games, but then they play down to their competition. The OKC game is a perfect example of them playing down to the competition. There should be no reason that these your big three are not scoring over 22 points a game. There's no reason DeRozan's going to have, you know, I get it. Some people have a bad game, but the rest of the team has to step up. The bench has to step up. Where are these guys? Where's the fire? Where's the passion for playing for Chicago Bulls? Kobe White's been doing okay, pretty good. I'm going to say from coming back off injury. Ayo's being asked a lot to do. I think he's a little bit overwhelmed since he's the point guard, and it's really taking a toll because he's supposed to be our sixth man for Lonzo Ball. So that void that Lonzo Ball is leaving, it is really, really coming into effect because Lonzo Ball's the floor general that runs the plays, that opens the floor for the rest of the guys, and a guy that can shoot the 3-ball. Ayo is not a 3-point shooter.
No.
Vooch is off and on.
You know, Ayo is a good facilitator. He is a good defensive player. But, I mean, again, like you said, he's being asked to do a lot as a second-year player. I mean, we have no idea what's going on with Lonzo Ball. Last we heard, he might, quote-unquote, might be ready in March. I mean, that'll put him, more than a year out. And, you know, before the Bulls got him, me and Mike Logic would go back and forth about, you know, I was like, I was never a big fan of Lonzo Ball. And, you know, unfortunately right now, the time that we did see him play, early on in his first season with the Bulls last year. He has those flashes of brilliance, the way that he sees the floor, him being a quarterback essentially on the floor, and it changes the dynamic of the entire team. It changes the flow. It allows Zach LaVine to be able to move around without the ball in his hand. It allows Caruso and Io to come off the bench and be dynamic and be part of that bench mob that we're seeing with like guys like Andre Drummond and Simonovic and Kobe White. You see these guys that bench mob is the first time we've actually had a really good bench mob in years, but it doesn't really work when you have to literally go to next man up and you had to shift the rest of your guards up into starting position because you do not have that guy that you gave a shit ton of money to and available to you. Again, we always talk about the best ability that you can have is what? Availability, right?
Yep.
So if you don't have any availability for me, then what good are you? You're just sitting there sucking up money. I will say we're looking at Debo, however you want to call him. I mean, he's playing very well, right? The problem is that we're not seeing the production out of Zach LaVine that he's getting paid for. And that is the biggest problem with this team because they will sit there and they'll play to the end of the game, but they're just terrible at finishing, right? They finally went up to Milwaukee last week and they finished off a game. They hadn't won a game there in several years. Who else? They just
Boston.
beat Boston. So they're playing up to the competition and they're able to get over that hump. I don't know if it's just more fire in the belly, whatever. Right now, they're giving the Jazz one of the hottest teams in the league right now. They're up with a minute left. They're up 9 points right now, if I'm reading that right.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. I'm a little behind on yours, but you're seeing Larry Marketing kill it.
Yeah,
he's got 7 threes. He's got 7 threes, and you just put another putback. So,
what that shows you is that that was the potential you saw with Larry Marketing before they had to ship him off, and he was never confident on the Chicago Bulls. And again, I don't know if there's still stigma about it being the house that Jordan built. There's a lot of players that cannot handle that. And I don't know if there was just pressure on him being the high pick, him coming over with that pick that they got for Jimmy when they traded for Zach. There's a lot of different things going on there. So he knows them very well and they know him very well. But, he wasn't really able to do much with the Cavs. They trade for Spider. He comes over to the Jazz, and he's been killing it over there. So I'm happy for him that he's able to kind of like actually show the league and the rest of us what his ceiling is, because we've been waiting for that for, 6 years now?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Tyson Chandler, where he didn't develop here until he left Chicago. Then he went over and won a couple championships. I think one with Dallas, and I think he might have won another one. With another West Coast team, might have been the Lakers or somebody.
He was on the Clips. He was on the Suns. He kind of moved around.
Yeah, he was a journeyman. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if he won. Was he on that team with Dirk when they won?
I believe.
I know he was on a couple of very good teams because he was always paired up with Chris Paul. Him and Chris Paul were a very good duo.
Oh my God, ridiculous! Yeah, that just the alley oops alone was just ridiculous.
So we'll see if the Bulls can pull off this one right now. Like I said, they're up by 9 with 1:09 left on this Monday evening. For more Chicago Bulls analysis, don't forget to check out the All Net podcast with Mike Logic and Ideal. After every Bulls game, they're going to break it down for you. Mike Logic is one of the biggest basketball nerds that I know. And now that they're focusing on the Bulls, I think Ideal is really back in the saddle. He's really excited about this season. So don't forget to go check them out. Find them on our Facebook page, True Chicago Sports Fans, and find them on Shine Native Entertainment.
All right, now it's time to talk about our beloved Bears, and Eddie is giddy to talk football because this is his bread. Bread and butter.
Bread, butter, crackers, soup, all this shit. Look, it was a very entertaining weekend of football. When you look at the 3 games on Thanksgiving, you had Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan beating up on Ohio State. They're going to go out and face, I think, Purdue in the Big Ten championship. So there's going to be a lot of really exciting college football, and I'm sure Justin Fields, not just his shoulder was hurting, but his feelings were hurt when Michigan beat Ohio State. I don't even know I know that I think Michigan was number 3, Ohio State was number 2 at the time. So I'm sure that really messed up the standings. I didn't even check because I also watched my Notre Dame Fighting Irish get their butts beat by USC. So that was a lot of fun, let me tell you. Anyway, let's talk some Chicago Bears. look, we know that Justin Fields was out with the shoulder, but we also had running back Khalil Herbert with the hip. We had Brisker and Gordon, the young guys, both with concussions.
Yep.
They couldn't suit up. And unfortunately, 5 more of their teammates were forced to leave Sunday's loss against the Jets. The quintet was compromised of Demo, Darnell Mooney, who is out for the season with an ankle injury. Safeties, Eddie Jackson with a foot, Dane Cruikshank with a hammy, and right tackles, Riley Reef and with a shoulder, and Larry Borum. So you got 2 right tackles out right there. You got 2 safeties out, and that's not even including the rooks, right? So, you know, Demo, that's what I actually heard Eberflus call him Demo on the radio today, so that's why. Yeah,
funny.
that's not, you know, yeah, Demo. But yeah, so unfortunately he's out. He had some like torn ligaments in his ankle. Eddie Jackson looks like he might. I'm really speculating right now, but the way he went down with a non-contact injury, I'm really fearful that it could be his Achilles, and that's a son of a bitch. That's a hard injury.
Yeah, Achilles. I don't know why. I didn't listen to sports radio this morning. I was a little preoccupied with getting to work and being on time and making sure I was ready for the Rugrats today. But again, a non-contact injury, those are the worst because it can be an ACL, MCL, PCL. It can be, you know.
It was definitely a foot. It was definitely a foot.
Was it a foot?
And it was him trying to pivot because he was him being the safety, right? He should have been back there to make a tackle that actually ended up with a touchdown for the Jets and the ever-growing fame of Jets quarterback Mike White, the most bland, boring fucking name and clone of a random ass Abercrombie model that you ever seen in your life. But yeah, unfortunately, Fields already out with that separated shoulder. So the funny thing is now we got Trevor Siemian, Northwestern's own Trevor Siemian. He was next up to start, but about an hour before the game, it was announced that he suffered an oblique injury during warmups. So in comes Nathan Peterson or Peterman or whoever the hell that guy is. Look, this guy has he started a couple games for the Bills. He started a couple games to the Raiders, and none of those fan bases know who he is anymore because he was terrible. So here comes Nathan Peterson, but not so fast, right? Simeon got shot up with the happy juice, and look, there he went. It was his first start of the season. He completed a whopping 14 of 25 passes for a total of 179 yards with 1 tutty, 1 interception, and a 75.2 passer rating in that 31-10 loss.
I mean, we didn't expect anything different. Did you? I did. I watched the whole thing. I didn't even fall asleep. I watched it. Yeah, usually I fall asleep halftime into the third quarter. I'm usually out. So nap time. But yeah, I did watch. I did hear about, like, oh, Nathan Peterman or whatever his face is going to start. And then you got Simeon who, he was hurt.
I knew Simeon was going to start. Because I'm especially playing fantasy, like I'm watching it a lot closer, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Simeon does not belong in any fantasy roster.
No.
Whether it's 3 years ago, 3 years from now, that is the equivalent of drafting Todd Heap from the Ravens, #1 overall. Okay.
What I did see was that you're looking at a pocket passer, right? It's a completely different offense. We know that we have injuries at the offensive line. We know we don't have time, so there's a lot of chipping with your tight ends. That's why you didn't see Cole Kmet with a lot of catches. You've seen Montgomery chipping in. You've seen the other. He was
forced to come back and be a blocker, and that's the thing is that so Mooney actually got hurt being a blocker.
Exactly. Someone rolled up on him.
Being a blocker, he got rolled up on the anchor.
And that's the problem we have. It's just going to continue the dominoes are continue to fall because it starts at your offensive line. And without the offensive line, then you have other guys doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, play after play after play. And obviously, you can't see behind you. So that's an unfortunate thing that happened to Darnell Mooney. It can happen to an offensive lineman. It can happen to anybody. But what we're looking at now is that we have a different offense. What I did see is that, the offense was a little bit more spread out. I see the pocket passing type of game plan that they had. I think it was okay. But you're playing one of the best defense in the New York Jets. Yeah. So at some point, I was like, one of my guys is like, oh, better pick six. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. I think there'll be a pick. I just don't think it'll be a pick six. Right. And I thank God I didn't bet that. But what I'm looking at is that he had no one to throw. Every time you looked at where am I throwing, option 1 is down, option 2 is down, option 3 is down. They're all being covered. So guess what? It goes to Montgomery, or Komet got I think like 2 or 3 catches. There was really nowhere to go. So their running game was the only offense that they really had, and at this point, this is what we expected. We didn't expect them to be a world beater. And some people were like, oh my God, what if the Bears go on a roll? Okay, maybe they can beat the Packers now that Aaron Rodgers is not going to play, but you're not beating the Bills. Yeah. You're not beating the Bills.
I mean, we saw them do a couple of different things. We saw Velus Jones get some of those end arounds that they used to give to Cordell Patterson. Claypool actually did decent. I mean, compared to the rest, he had 2 receptions, only 51 yards. But that means that he's getting 25.5 yards per catch. Monty had 3 catches. Darrington Evans, the other running back, had a catch. Cole Kmet had 3 catches for 27 yards. Yeah. And then you had, EQ. You had Pringle actually had a touchdown. He had a pretty nice catch there. A lot of people are still clamoring. They want to know what's going on with Claypool. What's going on with Claypool? You have to implement the offense, right? You have to give the guy. He hasn't been in this offense all season. He's only been here for 4 games now. So you got to give him a chance. But I mean, we're seeing the way that he fought to be able to catch the ball on Sunday. He actually did a pretty good job of getting to where he needs to go. He's not the fastest guy in the world. Pringle is much faster than him, but he's a big, tall target, and I think he's essentially what they thought they would be getting when they signed EQ St. Brown, because you got a big, tall guy. And EQ, both him and Claypool coming from Notre Dame. There's a reason that Claypool cost them a 2nd-round pick, and there's also a reason why the Packers and Aaron Rodgers really wanted Claypool on their team as well. The Packers, I forgot the kid's name, but their young wideout that they brought over, the rookie. I mean, he's starting to play pretty well. So I mean, that's interesting for them. I really don't care, but what I'm saying is that you see that the players that the Bears targeted, specifically Claypool, there's a reason why they wanted him, because they need a big, tall guy. What happens in the off season with the free agency, that's a whole nother thing. That'll be interesting to see who stays, who goes after the season, who they release, who they're able to hold on to. But so Simeon with that oblique injury was kind of funny, because they asked him if it bothered him during the game, and he says a little bit, but honestly, I'm more embarrassed getting the injury I got. You've got guys in there that are playing, what are we, week 12, 13, going through hell, and I have a non-contact thing show up. So yeah, not ideal, but everyone is going through something at this point of the year, which is absolutely correct, because even the almighty Justin Fields, JF1, we'll see if he plays against the Packers. He's still questionable. Well, Mooney's out for the season. Yep. Right? Yep. He's done. We're still waiting for that updated Eddie Jackson to see what's going on. Like I said, I'm fearful that it's an Achilles, because despite the fact that he still can't wrap up, he's actually been really good he's been a ball hawk at least the first part of the season. And he left it in a walking boot. So look, Justin Fields is so questionable for that Green Bay game, but Rodgers had a rib injury late in that game the other night. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I know he's going to do whatever he can to come and play the Bears, because I still remember a couple years ago, he got injured at halftime. He got super drugged up. He came back and played, and they came back and won because we were ahead. And then he talked in like this hillbilly accent the whole time. So, well, I just went in the back and I relaxed a little bit, and I had a couple beers, and then I was ready to go. And I'm like, why are you talking like that? What is wrong with you, Justin Fields?
Yeah.
And
Rodgers. Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't.
My thing is that if we do see Justin Fields, again, don't get me wrong. My one game that I want them to win the rest of the season is the Green Bay game. If they go 2-2 73, that's how many games they got nowadays. I'm always going to want them to beat the Packers. Lovie Smith understood that. He put it in his introductory press conference when he joined the team years ago. But I also kind of want to see Jordan Love against Justin Fields, right? Jordan Love looked a lot better when he came in the second half for the Packers.
He looked really good. He
had
good. Zip on those passes. Before. The Packers wide receivers were dropping passes that hit their hands in the end zone on the way out, like towards the sideline. they were dropping the passes. So it wasn't Jordan Love. I think he went like 4 for 5 on his first drive. I mean, he was trying to bring them back, and then after that, they just started dropping the passes. So, I mean, can you imagine just like, we've already seen it, right? We've seen Favre to Rodgers, because of an injury. He came in, and after that, the next year he took over.
And what's the common thread though there? Because Rodgers had to sit for 3 years before behind Favre. Jordan Love is a third-year quarterback now, right?
Yes, and he's going to be the starting quarterback next year.
Right. If Rodgers wants to come back, he'll come back. If he wants to come back and play next year, he has full autonomy to do that. The kid I'm talking about is Christian Watson. He's actually been playing very well for them as of late. Alan Lazard has not been, again, big, tall guy. He hasn't been a superstar. Romeo Doubs got hurt, and Randall Cobb, he's about, I think he's about 57 now. So, yeah.
Sounds about right.
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the reason. I know we want to win against the Packers, but there's no reason to put out Justin Fields for the next 5 games to further injure him. He's got that, what is it?
Reps are reps, right? Sports, like, you don't get better, just like anything else. They say you need 10,000 hours of any activity to become an expert, right? So in your work life, like if you're starting a new job, that's about, and I did this calculation not so long ago, I think it was about 5.5 years of actual work time in a 40-hour week, right?
Math.
So reps are reps. If you're healthy, Justin Fields has been exciting, but he could still end up being a bust, right? He's been exciting because he's breaking records. Well, look what happened with Kaepernick. He was breaking records too.
Yeah.
Justin Fields has the all-time rushing records in a regular season game at 178, and Kaepernick had 181 in a playoff game. Against the Packers, actually. That was pretty cool. But yeah, if he's healthy, and that's going to be your starter, if he's healthy, that's a big if, right? That's where I put it in there, because reps are reps are reps. You're not bringing in Trevor Siemian to be your starter. You're not bringing Peterson Minton, that guy. If he's your guy, let him be your guy. Reps are reps. Like reps, that's the only way you get better is more reps. So, I don't want him to get injured further. I don't want him to get another injury, but reps are reps, right? That's how I think about that.
Yeah, I think that, but right now I think that the Bears are pretty much saying that he's the quarterback of the future. I think they're solid with his performance.
I think his spot is secure as a starter. I just I think that 5 games left in the season.
Yeah,
like 5. Reps are reps, right? You still got to play. I think they got to play like the Bills. They got a couple of hard games.
They still got to play the Packers. The Packers, they'll be okay. The Eagles is a very tough defense. That's when I don't want him playing. You got Dominic and Sue over there that likes to eat quarterbacks.
I want him to play Philly all day. I want him to play Philly. I want him to play a close game. I want him to be pissed off at the end of the game because they lost. And I also want him to get validation because I want to see him play against Jalen Hurts with the same style of play. Jalen Hurts set a record last night because that's when they beat up on the Packers. Jalen Hurts was moved up to like number 3 or 4. They showed the whole list. Justin Fields has 2 of the top 10 all-time rushing records for a quarterback. Jalen Hurts made one of those was one of those spots last night. So that would be interesting.
It would, but again, I want a healthy quarterback out there because he does take a beating because he does have to do a lot of the offense, and whether it's running or evading the defensive linemen. So again, a lot of these plays are they're flea flickers, that Justin Fields makes up in his head. Like, hey, this is the play, but it's not going to work. And watch when I scramble, come back to me. He's literally playing backyard football, just like Mahomes does.
But Rodgers has been doing that for 15 years.
Oh yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like Rodgers has been doing that forever. So I mean, if you had a player on your team that had the career, especially at a quarterback, especially for the Chicago Bears, a team that had the career that Rodgers has, you take it all day. Okay, you take it all day.
So you want him playing? You want him playing this Sunday?
If he's healthy, I want him to play. Period. If you're healthy, you play. That's how I feel.
Okay. All right.
Because don't forget, he also does that baseball slide. You don't see nobody do that slide like he does. Smart slide.
He's gotten a lot better. Yeah, he's gotten a lot better. I don't see Aaron Rodgers playing. He thought that he punctured his lung. That's why he came out of the game. but he also got hit in his thumb for the second game in a row. So that's critical for a quarterback to be able to throw the ball because you got to grip it really hard. So unless you're Tom Brady, who gets his balls deflated.
Hey, not only by the Patriots, but also
by Giselle,
by his ex Jizzle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Stirring the Pot after a word from our sponsors.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to Nowhere on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots. So let's kick it back over to Big Z and E-Rock.
Nowhere on the Weekend.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yes, sir.
It's that time again, brother.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's time for Stirring the Pot. All right, brother. Yeah.
I got something special for you this time.
Oh, you got something. All right, cool. Throw it at me, man.
I got this. Anyway, so like when I buy Red Bull, right, I always get to see like they had the peach one, they had like the watermelon one for the summer. So they just introduced the Red Bull Winter Edition, and I put a picture up there for you. And the flavor is fig apple. That's right, fig as in Fig Newtons, gross little fruit cookies. Fig apple flavor. So Z, I know you drink Red Bull, not all the time, but I know you drink Red Bull.
Yeah.
So on a fig apple flavor, is this a yay or a nay?
You know what? If you're buying, I'm trying, sir. No, I will definitely try the winter. I like all the flavors they come up with. I think they're very creative in their flavors. I wish they had a sugar-free version of this. Because me and you both drink the sugar-free energy drinks. But I'm down to try it. So if they have it next time I'm going up your way, I'll pick it up at the gas station.
Hey, if you like it, I love it. How you like that one?
Hey.
No, so I actually I saw this at Thornton's gas station where I go near work, and it wasn't bad. I was like, well, let me give this a try. It wasn't bad at all. I mean, like again, as long as it's nice and cold. And the nice thing about when you get those 12-ounce cans, they actually fit in the same can that you put your Topo Chico or your whatever. So they actually fit in there.
Yeah, you know how I have my brewmate. I have one for the slim cans, and I have one for the beer cans. So I'm always prepared.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, it was funny because like a lot of times when I leave the house, I look in the back seat and the the little what do you call it? The can buddy or what did you just call it?
Oh, the brewmate.
Sure, that thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, like the little tiny miniature like can shaped cooler thing, and it fits perfectly in there. And I'm always waiting to see something like, you can't drink beer in your car, and I'm like, yes, I can.
It's just not legal to drink beer in my car, but
Right.
I can do it.
Like, what is this, the 1960s? Was Sean and his grandpa sliding across the vinyl seats and drinking a case of beer that comes in? You remember the old little cardboard trays that all the 24 pack used to come in? Do you remember that? Remember?
Yeah.
Remember Wildwood soda at Jewel? That's if you wanted a 24, it was just 4 6-packs. And it would come in that little cardboard. I just imagine his grandpa with one of those, like trying to hold all the beers there, and he's under one arm and shit.
The kid's under one arm. The beer's being held correctly.
So Sean's under one arm, and he's balancing his weird case of beer in the other. So that's two yays on this one, huh?
That is definitely 2 years, and that's been a rare occasion where we both agree on something. Yeah.
It's a holiday miracle.
It is a holiday miracle. It's what is it? The Festivus. What is it?
Festivus for the rest of us.
That's
baby.
right. Festivus for the rest of us.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Hey,
Best holiday ever.
Bulls ended up pulling it off, 114 to 107. So congrats to them.
Yeah, congrats to them.
Yeah. All right, brother. Before we go, what you looking at? What are you watching that isn't sports?
So Steven was over here yesterday on Sunday, and I recorded his episode. So he's like, "Hey, you've got to watch this." And I said, "What is this?" He's like, "Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special." It's on Disney Plus. They just released it this week, I think on Wednesday or Thursday, and I think he's watched it at least 47 times at this point because he's a big Marvel nerd. I gave it a shot. I think it was really well done. It was funny at some points. The whole thing is they're trying to give Peter Quill a present because he's from Earth and he's kind of sad that he's not at Earth, and all the traditions are not there. They're rebuilding whatever planet they're on or whatever. They're rebuilding it, and some people are trying to get into the Christmas spirit as they're learning. The opening scene is fucking hilarious because they come up with a new Christmas song and it's very catchy. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to ruin it for me because I know you're gonna watch it because that's what's up.
I'll probably watch that.
Yeah, because it's in and out, just like you like you like your movies that get you in and out. So you don't really have to know much about the Marvel universe. It's really a standalone little short. It's really good. But yeah, that's something I watched. I also did. I know we didn't talk last week, but I watched Nope.
Oh yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah, that's on Peacock. I watched it. I thought it was okay. There was some plot holes and there was a couple things that I found really stupid, but I did catch a lot of the premonitions that they do show you in the movie that kind of let you know exactly what's going to happen in the movie. So I would say watch it, but it is a 5 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, the thing is with me is that I rarely turn a movie off, and I try to give everything, at least if I started, I try to finish it, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that with the Monsters movie because that was terrible. And it's either, if I'm not falling asleep, that means I was like, oh, I like this enough to stay up and watch it. But this is one of those movies, and see, like I'm one of the few people that liked the movie The Village. You remember The Village?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Ding Dong.
Yeah,
Kim was like, this is so fucking stupid, and I was like, I watched it in 2 parts. Like I watched the first half, and then I fell asleep, and I came back years and years ago. And I watched the second half where they find out that they're in modern times and all this stuff later, and I was like, oh my god. So like this kind of stuff is like I would probably enjoy it more than you would, just because I have a different mentality and mindset, and the way that I absorb information is just weird.
Facts. Definitely facts on that.
And just the way that my mental state works in general. So it's been on my list since I don't know, it was released, but that would require me to actually do something and watch it. So
yeah, definitely. It was one of those. It was one of the movies that was on my list to watch when it came out. I was like, "Oh, this is a cool concept." And then when I watched it, I'm like, "Okay, it's pretty decent." Again, 5, maybe 6 out of 10, but I would say watch it. Watch it for yourself. I think I like the way he's got an outside perspective of making horror movies or suspenseful movies. I got it. Took me a while. The other thing that I watched, I've been watching the new season of Yellowstone, and if you haven't watched it, it is pretty good. It is really good. Get on that Yellowstone, and it makes you want to put on a cowboy hat and flannel and some boots and a big belt buckle and ride a bull or something, man. But you definitely one of those shows that sucks you in, and you're like, man, when is the next episode? So if you haven't watched that, get on that. What have you been watching?
It's gonna have the Fast and Furious effect. Remember when Fast and Furious came out, and everyone was no matter what kind of you had a Dodge minivan, and after that game or after that movie at the theater right before streaming and all that, you're over there in the parking lot like revving up the fucking engine. You're like, yeah, family, yeah.
Put flames on my minivan.
Right. So you sit there and you put on Peacock and you watch a couple episodes of Yellowstone and you're like, giddy up, motherfucker. Like,
oh yeah, 100%. I'm moving to Montana. All right, man. What are you watching?
I'm trying to figure out what's legal over there in Montana first before I'm just saying,
everything's legal.
How close is that to Colorado? Anyway, so I was I've actually so I watched the new Trevor Noah special. It's called I Wish I Would. And it was like, I think that the title, if you actually watch the special, he has that one point where like, man, I wish they would. Like, wish they would what? Like how people want to be tough. I wish they would. Like, wish you would what? So I think that's where it came from. Trevor Noah just announced that he's going to be stepping down as the host of The Daily Show. So, I'm guessing he's going to work more on his stand-up and just keep going touring and all that stuff. Good for him. I mean, a lot of people don't like him because he is very left-wing, and when you listen to his comedy, you watch The Daily Show, that's kind of his whole thing. That's always been kind of what The Daily Show was, going back to Jon Stewart. So, this is right up his alley. But if you're a fan of his, you'll definitely enjoy it. I've also been playing on Xbox this game called Man-Eater, and Man-Eater is not the new nightclub in Boys Town. It is actually
it's the new GTA version for our boys up there on Halsted.
No, but actually, this is a game where you play as a shark. And your job is to grow from like a little baby, a pup of a shark until you kind of get into like, the big, what do they call it?
Great white.
It's predator sharks. And this, I'm just swimming around eating fish, and it's narrated by Chris Parnell. I'm pretty sure that's his voice that I keep recognizing. And you go all the way down from like an alligator just kicking your ass to like sitting there and trying to like fight like an orca or a sperm whale, like giant. I mean, it's nuts. And then the whole time you have these bounty hunters coming after you because you have missions where you literally have to eat people. So you see like eat 3 humans. Here comes the bounty hunters coming trying to hunt you down, and you got to kill them and all this stuff. So I mean, it was one of those games that it sucked me in. I have one the very last boss mission to do, but this is the first time I would say in at least 15 years that I did all of the side missions on a game.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you the last time I did that.
Also sounds like a great concept.
It's just fun.
Okay.
Like I literally like sit there I'm like, how did I waste a whole minute playing video games in my 40s? So the other thing I watched was this is an animated show. If you have not seen it, it's called Inside Job. You have Lizzie Kaplan, who is the main voice actor, as Christian Slater. It has Adam Scott, Clark Duke. You'll know him from Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah. The kind of nerdy guy, and he was also on The Office. Brett Gelman, who you know from Stranger Things. So the concept is antisocial genius Reagan Ridley and her dysfunctional team work to hide the world's conspiracies. So it's literally the deep state. It's actually pretty damn interesting. It's a lot different than you might think it would be just looking at it. And I want to say this is it's kind of in the same Rick and Morty type of vein.
Okay.
So it's definitely interesting. They just released season 2, so So yeah, if you're a fan of adult animation and not the dirty kind, no anime. This definitely check this one out. It's on Netflix. The other thing that I started to watch, I think I mentioned this before, was Inside Man with Stanley Tucci from the Tucci Gang. He's a death row inmate who is I think he's there for murdering his wife, and he advises people. I don't even want to give a lot away from that one. When you put Stanley Tucci in a show where he's like a serious actor, it's going to be a win. Just stay away from that CNN show that they gave him to go eat Italian food around the world and just blew their fucking budget. Where they have to cut all their other non quote unquote news shows. But yeah, man, there's definitely a lineup of shows waiting for you, and I'm pretty sure it used to be called the Family Channel or the Hallmark, whatever it is. It's called Freeform now. They're 25 days of Christmas where you can see Frosty the Snowman and Home Alone 73 times in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, that'll be enough. The only thing I watched is Christmas Vacation, Elf. Die Hard.
There's Home Alone. I mean, Home Alone gets in the rotation.
Home Alone, yeah, that gets in the rotation. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure at some point the Grinch will be on. I don't like the Jim Carrey one. It gives me the creeps. Yeah.
What's the other one? That's
there's a newer one that's animated.
That one too.
Tyler, the creator, did the soundtrack, and there's actually some dope songs in it. I actually have that on my Christmas playlist. So yeah, coming up. I feel like this year went by really fast, man.
Yeah, we blinked and they were like, "Oh my God, summer's over." Oh my God.
I don't remember the entire month of August.
That's because you were doing softball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, no more softball for a while. We're just going to be enjoying the holidays. Pretty soon we'll have our little holiday get together, our potluck, tamales and cannolis and all the other, round shaped ethnic foods that we can get our hands on.
I thought you were talking about us. We're round and ethnic.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and that's all we got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. A big thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirts. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 at checkout for 15% off of your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your Christmas gifts for all your friends and family right now. And don't forget to check out the rest of the 606 Media lineup. The new show is No Water on the Weekend with Steven and Sean. It's a pop culture forward podcast that dabbles in funny trivia, film, television, music, and Chicago-centric news and happenings. New episodes are available on Mondays. And of course, the Bulls are back, baby. That's right. NBA is back in action. 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Shine Native Entertainment presents All Net. Make sure to check out the All Net podcast with Mike, Logic, and Ideal after every Bulls game for breakdown and analysis, and two knuckleheads who know each other very well and will throw insults at the drop of a hat. So if you like seeing people get their bust each other's balls and you love the Bulls, that is the show for you. The Shy Native Radio Podcast is now available on all major platforms. Mike Logic, Ideal, and Throw MC talk about sports, movies, and all types of ill shit. Go and check them out right now. And while you're checking out shows, check out Sibling Rivalry Media with our guy Il Brown. He's always breaking down the Bears games. We had him on. I linked him up a couple weeks ago to talk to another show in Atlanta about the Atlanta and Bears game a couple weeks ago. So make sure you check out our boy Il Brown and check out what he's doing on Sibling Rivalry Media on YouTube. Shout out to Ronesh, Panic, Serious Beats, and custom made for the beats we played on today's show. Check out paniconthebeat.com for all your Moleman merch and gear. And don't forget to check us out on social media. You can find us at True Shy Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and reach out to us on our email. Tell us what you think about the show, any questions, any comments, any concerns, and you can tell me how wrong you think I am. You can reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, y'all, for Big Z, this is E-Rock. We'll see you next time for episode 121. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Gobble, gobble.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth. Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos.
That's all. I shouldn't have had those artichoke poppers.